Good morning, I'm Nikki, the Obsessive Bookseller, and welcome to my channel. Today we are doing a massive book unhaul. As you can see, I've been stalling on doing this video for a while. I need to start out with a disclaimer. So whenever I watch unhauling videos, they always get rid of something that I would love to have in my collection. I'm like, don't get rid of it, send it to me! They're treating it like it means nothing, but it's a beautiful book and I would love to have it. So on a very deep personal level, I get the impulse to ask someone to send you books. And in a few previous videos that I've done where I've indicated that I was going to let something go, a few people have asked here and there if I could send them the titles once I'm done with them. I've given it a lot of thought, and at this point in time, everything involved with that is a can of worms that I don't have the will or the energy to handle at this moment. So I will not be sending any of these books to any of my viewers. I will be donating them independently. And so I am really sorry in advance if that causes a lot of disappointment. Anyway, part of the reason it's taken me so long to get to filming one of these videos is because I wasn't sure how I wanted to handle that situation. But as you can see, I'm sitting down and this pile is almost as tall as I am. There are a lot of books here that I'm letting go. Many of them are replacement copies, or rather fell victim to replacement copies. I am relatively new to the used book market, so I have only been buying used books for a couple of years now. When I very first started shopping, I would buy anything and everything that came across my radar because I wasn't sure how readily available a lot of them were. And I'm like, well, I better take this grody copy now because I may not get any copy in the future. Now I'm a little more learned, and I know that a lot of times if I just wait, I'll find a really decent copy. But with that came a lot of early purchases that I kind of regret a little bit. Some of you may also be following my Read, Burn, Hoard project. All of the books that I've gathered for that unhauling segment are still sitting in my garage. They are not part of this unhaul. I will deal with those when I'm done with the project. Alright, let me show you what I'm letting go. Okay, this was kind of a no-brainer. It's a Princess of Landover. It's a CD compilation, and I think I picked it up for probably like $1 or $2 on a Barnes & Noble sale. And as now I can get it through my local library for free, I don't think I need to take up room. Especially since I would never go through the effort of putting it into my computer, uploading it so that I can change the speed of the playback. And I'm not going to listen to it in my car at 1 point speed. That would be like pulling teeth. So, there's one. Honored Enemy, the first book in the Legend of Rifwar series by Raymond E. Feist and William Forstchen. My mom gifted me her copies, her hardcover copies, and so I don't need the paperback anymore. And then on my recent Salt Lake City book trek, I picked up a signed version of In the Labyrinth of Drakes. This is my favorite one in the series, so I can let go this one, which I think I picked up on bargain anyway, so luckily I'm not out too much on that. And then, same trek. This is a book club edition of Robin Hobb's Shawmen Crossing. I managed to find the actual, like, full publication size one that I prefer, so letting this one go. And I've actually got this one bookmarked. I started it at one point and then put it down. I need to get back to that, especially since she's my favorite. And then I've got quite a few paperbacks here. This one doesn't have a cover, but Chaos Bound by David Farland. I found a signed hardcover on that same trip, so I can finally let go of that placeholder. And then, okay, so I've been trying to find a really good copy of some Robin Hobb books. And sometimes on Amazon, when you order things and they show up and they're not what they're supposed to be, they tell you to just keep the book. And I'm like, I really don't want to keep the book because of what a waste. But I have these book club editions that showed up when I had ordered the full size. So Fool's Errand and Ship of Magic, which I have since found in the correct sizes. So I can let those smaller ones go. And on one of the used treks, I found Green Angel Tower by Tad Williams. And I actually think this is the full non-split up version. I might hang on to that. Forgot I put that in there. Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I have replaced this with a hardcover, so I don't need my original paperback, which, by the way, I hadn't even read. I think I listened to this one on audio, so it's just a placeholder on the shelf. Illustrated version of Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. My husband found me a signed Robin Hobb for Christmas, this version, so yeah, I don't need two. Another one of those Terry Brooke audiobooks that I probably got for free, if I'm totally honest, so never gonna listen to that. A pretty beat-up copy of Cursor's Fury by Jim Butcher. The spine looks nice, but the paper itself is actually quite gross. So I found a much better copy for really inexpensive on one of my treks, so let that one go. Space Side by Michael Mamet, second book to Planet Side. I have 3 copies of this book in my house. I have an ARC and another copy, and then I must have forgotten that I had already ordered it because I ended up with 3. I liked it that much to have 3 copies, but I don't need all 3. Highly recommend that one. Barbara Hanley's Those Who Hunt in the Night. I ordered a Jacqueline Carey book, and this is what showed up. So they told me to just keep it. And I have tried I think I've tried Barbara Hanley and didn't really care for her too much, so not going to miss that one, especially since I didn't even order it. And then another situation where I was trying to find the full size, they sent me the smaller size and told me to just keep it. They're very generous with their books. I think the problem is it would cost them more money in shipping and take away their entire profit margin, so they just decide to take a loss instead of dealing with the hassle of it, which I would too. Rides of Dread Legion. I got my mom's full-size copy and don't need that one anymore. The Grey Bastards. I replaced this one in hardcover. I did really like it. I've not made time to continue the series yet, but I found the hardcovers on bargain, so like, sold. Okay, then I have a stack here of Feist paperbacks. Some of these were actually my dad's, so they're like 20 years old. A few book hauls ago, I mentioned that my mom was downsizing her collection significantly and giving me all the books that I've been coveting since I was a kid. And so I got all of her hardcover Feists, and so I don't really need these paperbacks anymore. I would always much rather have a hardcover. An unread Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb, because I found a beautiful hardcover with this exact cover on it. This is probably my favorite cover of the series. I love the ombre, like blue and green, so yep, letting that go. Okay, the next couple look like books that I have replaced. Kind of a grimy copy of Starman by Sarah Douglas, and I love the covers by Luis Royo, so that's why collecting these was a priority. But I want to be able to actually read them. And this one was so grody that I wouldn't actually ever read it, so letting that one go. And then I was collecting the Steven Erikson, these old, almost cartoonish looking covers that I love. And it's kind of hard to see, but the edge is starting to peel up on this, and I found a much better copy, so letting that go. I've been hanging on to this one forever. It's High Druid of Shannara series, and then realized that I already owned it in a beautiful compilation hardback. Plus it's the book club edition. Volume 3 in the Sharing Knife collection by Lois McMaster Bujold. I did not care for the first book. It's like a romance fantasy. It was very slowly paced, and I didn't care enough to read on. It was an okay book, but it was all about the relationship between this very much older man and this young girl, and yeah, not a lot of magic or interest to keep me going in the series, and I had already collected a bunch of them, so yeah, I'm okay letting that one go. And then I had 2 copies of Tag-A-Run by Brian Jacks and found a signed copy, so don't need to hang on to that one anymore. And then per trying to get a nice copy of Kushilskaya, they sent me the frickin' book club edition. Now, the problem with this is the ISBNs, which is the identification number on the back of each book, they are identical for the book club editions and the regular sized. So they're always listed as regular size, and I even go so far as to send them an email and ask them if they can verify that they have the bigger copy, and I usually get something back like, well, that's what's listed in the description, and we don't have any reason to believe that it's not the right copy, so I order it and it's the wrong one. Still. With how prevalent of a problem it is, you would think that it would be, I don't know, easier to distinguish on Amazon, but whatever. Book 2 of The Enduring Flame by Mercedes Lackey and James Mallory. It's a series I want to get into, and when I was on a book trek and didn't have any pictures of my collection, I didn't remember what I had. I accidentally picked up a second copy of this. It's not even one I'm super interested in getting to anytime soon, but somehow I ended up with 2. I have learned some strategies on how to avoid that in the future. I also have been slowly replacing all of my paperback David Farlands with hardcovers, and I think I'm ready to let these go. These have a lot of sentimental value to me, but the hardcovers are just gorgeous, and he signed the second one I have in hardcover, so letting those go. Smaller Stephen Erickson, we accidentally ordered the wrong one at Christmas, and I have since replaced it with the one that matches the rest of the series. So you can't have 9 books that match and then one that doesn't. That just would really bother me. Spirit Animals by Garth Nix and Sean Williams. This is book 3 in the Spirit Animal series, and yeah, accidentally brought home 2 of those. Hidden Empire by Kevin Anderson. This one doesn't have a cover, but I found a signed hardcover, and so, yeah. Don't need a strip, first of all, but then on top of that, don't need just another placeholder. I've got like 3 versions of this book, The Ancient by R.A. Salvatore. Book on CD. When I found this, I was like, oh, this is so good, I can listen to it. It was like 20 years ago, before anything was available. Like Audible wasn't even a thing then, so definitely don't need that. Okay, The King of Ashes and the Queen of Storms. I collected these because they're the newest from Feist, and I really enjoyed most of Rift War, and absolutely hated the first book. Made it 30%, had a huge rant on it, hated it. So I have no desire to hang on to this series, which is a bummer because they are gorgeous hardcovers. And then 2061, Odyssey 3. It's actually a whoopsie. My husband accidentally bought 2 copies of this, so I'm donating that one on his behalf. Requiem for the Sun, Elizabeth Hayden. I don't think they told me to just go ahead and keep this one. I think I just was so fed up with dealing with the whole thing that I just kept it. But I have since found the right size instead of the book club edition. Now I've got all these paperbacks here. These are my strip cover Dragonlance Chronicles. I used to have a couple of hundred of these, and yeah, I have narrowed it down to these 10 books, 12 books, and have since decided that I'm probably never going to read these physical copies. I have them marked as though they're available through Audible for a credit, so if I ever get inspired, I will pick it up that way. But I really don't need these books taking up room on my shelves when I know if I'm ever going to get into Dragonlance, I'm probably just going to reread the main series by Wise and Hickman. I'm never going to get into these Lost Adventures. It does not help matters that I've read 2 or 3 of them already and didn't enjoy them, so. But the dragon ones are kind of cool. But I've been debating back and forth on these for a long while, and then ran out of room when I set up my non-read section, so I'm like, alright, they're gone. Some book club edition Dritz books, and then an ARC of The Road to the Patriarch. This I actually got while working as a bookseller, and I was so excited. I was the only one working at the time who had read Dritz, and got to read this ahead of time. I have since replaced it with a really nice hardcover, and these are the original ones that I bought through the Science Fiction Book Club before I realized I didn't really care for those editions, and I have since replaced them with the nicer hardcover, like the standard size. I really have a thing against the book club editions. I'm sure most of you out there are rolling your eyes going, yeah, we wouldn't care. They're just nice books. Picky. OCD. It's true. Another copy of Requiem for the Sun. That was the wrong size. Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. Now this is not a horrible edition. It's in pretty nice condition. But as this is my all-time #1 favorite book of the couple thousand that I've read, favorite single book, I found one that was in immaculate condition, so it was only like $10, so I replaced it. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is a nice hardcover. It was the first one I bought. However, I won a contest for a signed copy of this exact book, and I won, which is awesome, but now I had 2, so I'm letting that one go. Fate of the Fallen. I ordered 2 copies of this on accident, like maybe 6 months apart, and I'm like, that is a $5 book, and it looks awesome. I must have it. And I must have had the exact same dialogue the second time around as well. So 2 copies of that one. I hope it's good. You watch, I'll read it and don't like it, and end up having to donate the other one also. Nama's Kiss by Jacqueline Carey, another book club edition ordering failure. Soul of the Fire. In my most recent trek, I found a better version of this for only $5, so pick that one up. And then I have the audio of the first 2 in the Kingkiller Chronicles, and I won a contest hand selling these back before Audible came out because I love Nick Podell as the narrator on it. I love the story and wanted a copy for myself. Now, normally CDs like this ran for like 40 or 50 bucks, but these retailed at 20, which I thought was an excellent marketing thing because I sold so many of them because I loved it. And I'm looking at them the other day and I'm like, you know what? I have an Audible version of both of these. Not only that, my library has them, so if I ever want to listen to them, they are at my fingertips. I will never actually like stick these CDs into my car and listen to them. So they are just rather expensive paperweights. I have the Raised by Wolves series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book here. Now, unfortunately, these are personalized. All 3 of them are. I love this author for her Naturals series. It's one of my all-time favorite books, let alone YA. And picked these up because I'm like, I must like everything that she has written to this point. Hated this book. Everything that you typically don't like in a young adult book was present in here, and I just gotten fed up. I put it down with like 30 pages to go. That's a weird DNF when you're that close to the end to put it down with 30 pages to go. And I couldn't anymore. It was, yeah, I did not like these. And I'm lamenting that because I love the author, but I think I'm okay letting them go. Blood of Tyrants, one of the Temeraire books. I picked this one up really early on in used book collecting, not sure if I would be able to find anything else. I'm like, a hardcover is better than no hardcover, but ended up finding another one, so okay. Letting that one go. We're getting close to the end here. Sarah Douglas, Druid's Sword. This is actually a beautiful trade paperback. I think it's the UK edition. And what I loved most about this series were the Louis Royaux covers. And I finally found a hardcover version to replace this one that matched the set that I already had. But I don't hate this one. It's just not Louis Royaux, so. Golden Fool by Robin Hobb, yet another attempt to get the right version. And then last but not least, a really grody copy of Dragons of a Fallen Sun by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman, which I have replaced. I don't know. This is the only one I'm debating on. It is got a faded edge. It's got grime all over the cover. The spine is kind of breaking away. I bought it on impulse at a used bookstore where I couldn't find anything else, but I can't walk away empty-handed because what a waste of a trip. I've stopped doing that since. But I picked this one up before I'd even read the first book. And I have these nice little mass market paperbacks of the whole series that I think I would prefer to read over this one. And if I were to eventually go collect the series, I would not collect the book club edition. So what the heck is wrong with me? Why did I buy that? I was weak. I was like, oh, popular author, popular book, I must have that. I think I'll trust my first instinct and let that one go because I forgot it was even in there. And rule of thumb when decluttering, if you don't even remember that you had it, you could probably let it go. So let me show you the stack of everything that's going. And here is the massive stack that I am letting go. That's a lot of books. Thank you so much for joining me on this unhaul. I realize it's probably a little less satisfying to know that I'm unhauling books that are just duplicates as opposed to letting things go because I don't think I want to read them anymore. I mean, there was a couple of that, but I think the real fun will come in the unhaul that I do for my Read Burn Hoard, which we're probably still several months, maybe even a year or two out from that because I'm doing that as kind of an ongoing project. But anyway, it'll be nice to let a lot of these go, create some space. They've been just taking up room in my garage. And with this massive pile, I am fully aware that my buying habits with used books have consequences, and so I've been a lot more careful since I realized what kind of rabbit hole I was falling into with all of these. Thanks again for joining me for this video, and I hope to catch you next time. Bye!